So much of our world is still a complete and total mystery. There's so much that we don't know, and so many secrets that lie hidden from us. But every once in a while, these secrets reveal themselves to us. You get a glimpse into something or someone who used to live here. These days, new discoveries are made all the time in the world of science, but some of them are just more fascinating than others. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today, we are going to be taking a look at a few secrets of ancient beasts that you never knew. Let's get into it. First, we have to look at the giant sea scorpion. Over 400 million years ago, giant sea scorpions ruled Earth's waters. They are known as eurypterids, and they belong to a group of marine arthropods. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means that they were like a mix between a spider, a scorpion, and a lobster. So kind of like a cross between a spider and a scorpion, you could say. And some of them grew over 8 feet long, making them the largest arthropods in history. They swam around using their many legs and their large pincers to catch prey, which they then crushed with their strong jaws. Their bodies were also covered in hard shells, so they were pretty well protected from predators too. It's believed that the eurypterids eventually went extinct because the oxygen levels in the oceans started to drop. This meant that they couldn't get enough oxygen through their gills, and so they slowly died out. There are still fossils of them around the world today, showing us how big and scary they really were. Moving on, let's look at the terror bird. The terror bird wasn't just one species of bird, actually. It was many different species of flightless birds that lived in South America. These birds were huge, standing up to 10 feet tall, and they had beaks like axes. Yes, really. They would have been able to chop through flesh like it was nothing. In fact, it's thought that the terror birds evolved after the supercontinent of Gondwana broke up, and South America separated from Antarctica. This would have cut off the blood supply to the land and caused a mass extinction. This meant that only the largest birds survived, because they were so big. They were also at the top of the food chain, and were probably the most feared creatures in South America. But sadly, they went extinct 60 million years ago, and we don't know exactly why. Maybe they just couldn't adapt to the changing environment, or maybe they were hunted by other animals. Next, let's take a look at the Arthropleura. Now, this creature is truly terrifying. Imagine a millipede the size of a car. That's right. It may sound like something out of a nightmare, but it's actually a reality. That's what the Earth was like when the Arthropleura was around. It was a giant millipede that lived in what is now Europe and North America. It had a hard, segmented body just like a modern-day millipede, but it was way bigger. It could grow up to 6 feet long and 26 inches wide, and it had more than 100 legs. It's thought that the arthropods were scavengers, meaning that they fed on dead animals and plants. They would have been able to eat almost anything, and they would have been very good at finding food. Thanks to their huge size and their many legs, they were able to move quickly through the undergrowth, sniffing out a meal. They lived during the Carboniferous period, which lasted from about 359 to 299 million years ago. This was a time when the Earth was covered in dense swamp forests, and this is where the Arthropleura would have lived. They would have slithered through the murky water, looking for something to eat. They would have been terrifying to see if you were one of the small animals that lived in the swamps. They were like giant worms, and they would have been able to icily crush you with their powerful jaws. It's not known exactly why they went extinct, but it's thought that it had something to do with the changing climate. The Earth started to become drier and the swamps started to disappear. This would have meant that the arthropods would have had to move to new habitats. Maybe they just couldn't adapt to the change quickly enough, and they ended up dying out. Now we have to look at the megalodon. The megalodon was an absolute unit. It was a shark that lived in the oceans of the world. It was massive, growing up to 70 feet long and weighing more than 100 tons. It was also the largest fish that ever lived. It's thought that the megalodon was the apex predator of the oceans, meaning that it was at the top of the food chain. It would have hunted other sharks and large whales, and it would have been very scary to swim in the ocean knowing that a megalodon could be lurking nearby. But sadly, the megalodon went extinct about 3.6 million years ago. No one really knows why. Maybe it was because the Earth started to get colder, or maybe it was because the oceans became less salty. Whatever the reason, it's safe to say that we do and want to swim in the ocean today, just in case. Now we have to look at the Glyptodon. The Glyptodon was a mammal that looked like a Volkswagen Beetle. It had a hard shell on its back, and this is what made it so unique. The shell was made of bony plates that were fused together, and it was so tough that it could withstand the weight of a car. It's thought that the Glyptodon used its shell for protection from predators. It would have been able to curl up into a ball and protect itself from harm. It's also possible that the shell helped it to regulate its body temperature. Glyptodons were found in South America, and they lived there for millions of years. They were first discovered in 1881, and since then, we've found a lot of fossils of them. It's thought that they went extinct 10,000 years ago, but we're not really sure why. Maybe it was because of the changing climate, or maybe it was because humans hunted them for food. Finally, let's look at the Smilodon. The Smilodon is one of the most famous extinct creatures on this list, and for good reason. It was a saber-toothed cat that lived in North and South America. It was huge, growing up to 11 feet long and weighing more than 1 ton. It also had huge saber-like teeth that could be up to 12 inches long. The Smilodons were very skilled hunters. They would have used their teeth to take down large prey, such as bison and horses. They would have chased their prey until it was exhausted, and then they would have struck with lightning speed and killed it with their teeth. But sadly, the Smilodon went extinct about 11,000 years ago. It's thought that it was because the climate changed and there was less prey available for them to eat. It's also possible that they were hunted by humans, but we're not really sure. What did you think of these ancient beasts? Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.